Hi everyone, welcome to Celebrating Our Music. I'm with my guest today, Jerome Arab, and he is here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Fantastic, fantastic. Thanks for making the time to talk with me on this episode of Celebrating Our Music. Everyone that's joining us, speaking with Jerome Arab, and you're going to hear everything about him in a little while. But if you're too anxious and you want to know who he is, just click on his profile, check him out. And there's a link in my bio. You can go to a blog post that I wrote about him on my site or blog. Okay, so Jerome, can we tell people who might not know who you are or what you do? Who are you? What do you do? How are you involved in music?
How am I involved in music? Ooh, okay, fine. So firstly, who am I? I'm a creative director, singer, songwriter, rapper. Yeah, pretty much I'm an arts guy. The typical definition of an artist, that's what I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say most people that know me as the problem fixer. That's what I do is I fix everyone else's problems. Even that's what I try to do with my music is
Oh,
yeah, the problem fixer. Um, in the music world, I am an artist, a recording artist and performing artist. I've recorded over 300 songs. I put out yeah, about 300 songs. I have performed in many places all over the world. I mean, yeah, started off like everyone else on small stages and worked my way up. I've done shows in front of two people. I've done shows in front of 3,500, 5,000 people plus. So yeah, that's kind of Jerome in terms of the music, if you wanted to say what I do musically, recording and performing.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's good that you said, that you've performed all over the world. You've performed in front of audiences of two people, 2,000 people, and the amount of music that you've put out. Oh my word. I mean, I'm on your YouTube channel. I was just on your iTunes because I have a subscription to iTunes, and I love, and I'm a champion of streaming music legally, I love the stuff that's on your YouTube, for example, the visual work that you do. For example, Jerome Arab for You, the visualizer that you put out 3 days ago. There's also something else that you put out, Heavy, that you put out a week ago. You have stuff premiering, not stuff, but more
Yeah.
more
Music.
visualizers premiering this month. No, even what's today? Today is on
Yeah.
the 8th you have something, on the 15th you have something. So I'm very curious. I want to know what the process has been for putting out this content, for having it, presented to us, to the world. We've been under a difficult year, with the
Yeah.
pandemic. And how have you managed to put out content?
I think the hardest part, I think, right now is money. A lot of artists don't think about money. A lot of people get into the business or the music industry. Let's not say business because they're not in the business. They're in the music industry because they want to have masses of fans. That's it. They just want to be popular. A lot of people just want to be popular. They want to be
Yeah,
liked. That's why people do these things. Not many
yeah,
people actually are trying to put out content that is actually helping people progress in life or anything like that. It's like, oh, people will like me if I wear 10,000 chains. I'm gonna wear 10,000 chains, and that's the point that we've reached. And I found like, okay, fine, money is hard, but if I want to basically make music for the rest of my life, the music has to sustain itself. It has to be able to basically generate its own source of income. And I mean, I've been talking about this for years. Even in Zambia, when I was in Zambia, I spent a lot of time speaking to young musicians and stuff like, what you're doing, is it sustainable? You know, what's the business? And people would look at me like, dude, you're sleeping on the so good couch. Like, who are you? And I'm like, dude, I've been in the industry for a very long time. You know, I've learned the hard way. Don't make the mistakes I made. Like, learn from it. You know, so I found myself genuinely saying, how do I make money from this? And I started to put out content weekly from December last year. Yeah. So I've been, every Monday, I've been basically putting out a song, because I realized when I put out an album, there was hype for maybe a week, 2 weeks, and people then move on to the next best thing. So I was like, okay, if people are digesting this way, then what's the point in giving them 15 or 12 tracks all at once if next week is gone? You know? So I was like, what if I basically give them a track a week until I've got the right audience, and then I can test the audience by giving them an EP, which will then basically fill that month. So if that month has 4 Mondays, then I'm going to do a 4-track EP and just push one song every week from the EP. So it's still a song a week, but it's essentially all I'm doing is I'm giving myself 7 days for people to digest what I'm doing before I move on to the next thing, because that's the world we're in. Nobody's like, even in terms of posts, it's like people spend so much time creating the perfect post. It's like, what's the content in the post? Can you communicate it for like that's it? Are you communicating what you're trying to say efficiently? Because people are scrolling, they're going to see it for 5 seconds and then boom, they're gone. So it's either a tap or a comment. How they engaging your stuff? But once they engage it, it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So so that's,
I love that you mentioned how you're doing this, you're releasing something once a week. Another artist from Zambia that I interviewed a couple of months ago now, we talked a lot about how he had to adapt during the pandemic, how he was releasing stuff. And he was like, he adopted sort of like the same formula, not necessarily every week, but every month, a single or an album or something, to keep his audience either, interested, anticipating more, winning more audience members. And I love that, established musicians are also now doing it for their YouTube channels, because, you go, they released that one song 6 months ago for the album, the visuals, and then they went off. As a fan, you're always looking for different places to consume your favorite artist's work. So I applaud you. I love this. I'm on your channel right now. I mean, it's very easy to find. That's also another great thing I like about you, because all your stuff, it's there. If people can't find it on your link, they can go to my link, click on the blog link, and all your info is there. Your Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you want them to be. I'm interested in finding out who you work with, if you could tell us, to do these visualizers. Is this you on your own, or you have someone? What's the process? For example, if we talk about the heavy visualizer, how did that go? What was the concept? I know you had the song. So how did you bring that to life?
So I've got a team of people I work with. Most people that know this guy's work, like the guy that does the animation stuff or does the covers, his name's Smokeback. He's actually a Zambian guy based in Lusaka.
Wow.
Yeah, and I used a lot of his. Like, I used to follow his page and just be like, oh, these are really cool. And then I was like, okay, fine. In terms of appeal, I was like, this has international appeal. And this could help me communicate what I'm trying to communicate with the budgets I have,
Yes.
So I was like, okay, cool. Even in terms of like the visualizers, he done the animated one, which is the first one. The other ones I've basically edited myself. So I basically will have a picture that is HD, the equivalent of HD. I'll copy and paste that on, and then I'll stretch it however, and then I'll copy and paste on top, and then I'll drag that into my phone basically, upload the song and stuff onto UCut, because I use UCut as a thing, and then
Yeah.
I will add an effect. So sometimes it's snow, or it's sparks, or it's the shakers, or whatever it is, just so it looks like there's more happening than what really is happening.
Okay. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So there you've even given us a little bit of insider tips, what tools to use. I love it. And I think this works because, I mean, I wouldn't encourage anybody to go out and get a whole crew to a place. Right now, we're in the middle of the pandemic. The risks of catching COVID are really, really high. So maybe we adapt into this form of digital presentation. I mean, you could look at me. I've had to adapt to do my interviews via IG. So I love that you've adapted. I want you to talk a little bit about, I mean, maybe this is a bit obvious for most people who work in music, but why is it important for you to have sort of like a similar brand, a similar name all across social media for you, for your work? Why is that important? Why is social media even important for you?
Yeah, I mean, social media at this point has been a game changer for a lot of people. I come from a period where I was successful before there was social media, which, because I was kind of like, as a child, I was already thrown into mainstream media. I was doing a lot of theater work, and it was quite a high level. So people were watching me perform. I was opening for like bands and stuff, like a band called Rusiki Brothers in the 90s. So this is now, if you were to look at the lifespan of my career, I've been present for about 20 years in terms of music and theater and art. So
Yeah.
I've had to adapt. I had to switch up my thinking and go, okay, fine. How do I engage people on these platforms? And how do I get present on these platforms? Which platforms work for me? And it's just about attempting. You try. Not everything works. Like, I'm not great at TikTok. You know, I still try, and I fail, but I don't mind failing, because I'm like, well, I'm learning, you know? Yeah. And when you talk about just being synchronized across all platforms, or having a similar trend across all platforms, is you have to know what you're trying to communicate as a brand. You know, if something doesn't resonate with you, then don't. And that's what I was saying about people that do things in order to get likes, is it takes away from your brand. And that's what people miss, is what are you trying to do? What's the longevity that you're trying to create? You know, are you trying to be successful for 2 years, or are you trying to be successful for 20 something years, 50 years? You know, are you trying to make sure you eat, or are you trying to make sure your children's children eat? You have to think that way with everything you're doing. So even in terms of my catalog, everyone's like, why are you releasing so much music? I'm like, even if I don't make money from it, my sons will make money from it. You see? Yeah. So if I have 1,000 songs to my name, where my boys are collecting close enough to 100% on nearly every song, they good. Yeah. They good, because as long as they manage that catalog well, they'll always have money. So so that's kind of like my thinking about all of these platforms, is they've opened up for us to utilize to get ahead. I would not keep my following on the platform. If anyone is listening, I would insist that you ask people for their personal contact. Whether it's phone numbers, emails, build your own database. Because let's just say tomorrow, Instagram dies out. Yeah. And you have 10 million people on it. Maybe you have 50 million people on it. Can you actually reach those people without the platform? You know, so that would be my advice to anybody that is on social media. It's about growing your database and your fan base, or your people. You know, whether you're selling stuff or whether you're simply just sharing knowledge, it's about growing that group of people.
That segment there, all of this, I didn't want to interrupt you, because it's important that people hear from you, who's an industry player, an artist, a musician, you know, and that is so valuable. If I were to make just a clip, I would put that and say, you know, tips, listen to this, social media, how to use it, how to make it give you value as an artist. We've talked about why social media is important. I want you to use that as a segue to also just tell people who will come and watch this where can they find you? What are your socials? I mean, the links will be available in the description box of the video, etc. I've got your handle right now for Instagram, but just tell them, for people who are lazy, for go and click to things.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest thing to do is whatever. Well, you're obviously on this platform now, engaging us, so it's easier to just click up and go and check out at the Great Arab on Instagram.
Yeah.
But if you type Jerome Arab, I always say this to people. If you were to Google Jerome Arab, my name, period, Jerome Arab, every single platform I'm on will pop up, and you can get me there, because I see a lot of artists always doing the get me at this, and it's like people ain't paying attention to that. It's like go and search my name, go and look for my music, whether you're on iTunes, Audio Mac, whatever it is that you're on, just type in my name, and I guarantee you my profile will pop up. Excellent.
Thank you for that. So I mean, yes, you said you have content coming out. Are there any collaborations that you're going to be doing that you can share with us that you're excited about, or maybe you're a little bit secretive and you don't want to tell us?
No, I'm not. I'm not secretive. I think people put too much emphasis on the ambiguity of trying to be this cool something that nobody really understands. It's like, nah, man. I make music because I want people to connect with it.
Yeah.
The truth is, everything's a collaboration. I don't do everything myself. From the beat making is usually produced by a few different friends. Like the songs that you're talking about were produced by a guy called Frank Zigambo from Ndola. Most of that stuff. I've got a guy called Saint Louis, who's produced on the next EP that's coming, and a few tracks coming now. I've got Simba Tags Simba Tags from Zimbabwe has produced some stuff. Like everything's a collaboration. When you talk about artists, there's a guy called NOB from Ghana. He's like, we're dropping something soon, probably in the next 2 weeks. So next week I've got a track called Stand Up, which is talking about Africans going out there and voting, because we the ones that pay. So like, we need to go out there and take a stance. You know what I mean? Stand up and fight.
Yes.
Then followed by the track with NOB just around that Valentine's time, which is called Anything She Wants. What else do I have? I think I've got another feature with a guy called Saint Louis as well. 2 months time, a feature with James Sakala. Yeah, James Sakala and I. Yeah.
Look at that. I love his work. I love everything he does. He's such a gem. Oh my God, we are so lucky to have him.
So Jason and I we're good friends. I've known him for a while now. We released this song in 2015, but I'm re-releasing it because I felt that we never done it justice. So it's not on every platform, but now it'll be available on every platform. We're going to release that on Women's Day, basically, next month.
Okay.
So it's pretty much, there's going to be a lot of music coming. My goal is to do a track a week until the end of the year in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's an EP at the beginning of the month, and then, as I said, pushing a track every week, or we'll build up to, if the following comes on board and something goes viral, we'll drop an album instantly. But for now, I'm just going to drop a track a week until I get the traction that I feel I need in order to drop a compilation of work.
Okay. I love that you are, you have scheduled, months ahead, weeks ahead. You're talking about Valentine's Day, Women's Day, who you're collaborating with. How do you strike that balance, creating the content, scheduling the content? There has to be life away from creating all of this content. So how do you balance it? Because someone asked me also the other day, how do you balance creating content and then you time? So I'm going to ask you the same thing. How do you strike the balance? Create content, create my music, then time for me. I know you're a dad. You just talked about your children. The other day you posted about your kids, or one of your kids. So how do you balance that? Family time, music time, content creation time? Tell us, give us some tips, please.
I'm a stay-at-home dad. Most people that know I'm a stay-at-home dad. I also do TV and film, so I also have to script a lot of stuff. I find that my partner and I we jump between the two roles. So sometimes I'll have the boys, and she'll hopefully get some work done, even though she's just giving birth, so she's kind of not doing much right now. But in general, usually we just like, okay, fine, I'll take the boys, you work, or she'll take the boys and I'll work. Every now and then. I do a lot of the cooking right now, just because she's stuck with baby.
Yeah.
I think everything is scheduling, and it's, as they say, it's what you do when you're up. You know, like make sure you sleep, make sure you rest well always, make sure you always like if you need 6 hours, get your 6 hours. If you need 8 hours, get your 8 hours. It's so much easier to function, you know. And people be like, yeah, but when you have kids, I'm like, if I'm tired in the morning, I'm not going to work. I'll go and lie down for half an hour or an hour, get up, and then I'll start to do what I need to do. And I also don't kick myself, you know, like I love what I do. So I don't get worked up about not doing things, because when you do that, then you end up in this cycle where you're just not doing stuff. So constantly just make sure you 15 minutes, okay, cool, I'm going to do this. Have it in your mind. I think about these things constantly. Like, okay, fine, I'm scripting this show. This is what's going to happen in it. Okay, so when I sit down, I have 4 or 5 different ideas that I can bounce between while I'm scripting. It helps me reduce the amount of time I'm spending in front of the laptop. Whereas most people will sit there and go, okay, now I'm going to think about it. It's like, well, actually, you could have been thinking about it the whole day, you know? It's like...
Yeah.
So I just say, like, to everybody, it's like, don't kick yourself. Just plan what it is you expect from your day, you know, and don't ever think something's too ambitious. You know, I see a lot of people go, 5 things in one day. I don't know if I can do that. It's like, well, actually, some things will take 2 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's just like, say what you want from your day and then try and get it. Like yesterday was a prime example. I put on my sweats for jogging and exercising, and I was like, I'm going to exercise today. I took my son to school at 8:30. We left the house. I got home and I had a bunch of things to do. It must have been about 9 o'clock at night where I actually ended up skipping for 10 minutes and doing a few press ups and things. But my mission from beginning of the day was, I'm going to exercise today.
Yeah.
And I never found time during the day. But come 9 o'clock at night, I was like, that's it. I've got 10, 15 minutes. I'm gonna get it. You know?
All right.
So, just set your goals, man.
Yeah. I love that you said that. Set your goals, do what you can, don't beat yourself about it. I must ask you, I must bring you back to Zambia, young artists or, you know, individuals aspiring to work in the creative industry. What can we do to make it easier, more feasible for people to aspire to work in the creative industry? Film, script writing, directing, music producing, looking at the music industry itself. There's so many areas. You know, you could be the video director, the beat maker, the producer. I mean, I'm just throwing around titles, but how can we make it that more? I mean, a lot of young people are working, in the industry, but how can they get value from working or being part of this industry in Zambia?
I don't want to undo anything that's been done by predecessors or people that people look up to. I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but a lot of young people are taking from all the wrong buckets. You are handling intellectual property. That's what you're doing. Every time you write a script, you write a song, you put together a piece of content, you own the IP for that idea. You own 100% of that idea. And if you can understand this at an early stage in your life, that you're handling intellectual property, that you're building these ideas are houses that you're building. If you can look after those houses, you will become rich or wealthy. But what we have a lot of people that are, as I say, looking for fame. They're not actually trying to build a brand and build a business. They're just looking for fame. And that it's easy to do. You know, you could release these stupid videos that most of these CCAS people and stuff are doing. It's like there's so many other ways of you being famous, but you're handling intellectual property. And with that, you have to always keep in mind, like, okay, fine, I'm starting from 100%. How am I going to work this? How am I going to make money from this? Everything is a business. Your time, how do you value your time? If you're going to put in an hour a day, what do you expect for that hour? You know, when you record a song, does it cost you $10 to record? Does it cost you $20? Is it 200 kwacha? Is it 10,000 kwacha? What does it cost you to make that song? And then how do you get the money back on that song? You know, are you registering your work correctly? You know, like, take interest in the things you're doing. A lot of young Africans in the regions that we're from, Zambia, Zimbabwe, they're not interested in understanding how these things work. They just want to be the thing that they see on TV. I want to be this person, but it's like, what does it take to be that person? And then how do you actually better that? You know, and intellectual property, it took me years to realize this. I've lost so much money because I've been in the top 10 international charts. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And then I was like, how much did you make from it? I was like, I missed an opportunity, you know. I was on Big Brother Africa. I was in the top 5. And I look at that and I was like, oh, so what did you gain from that? You know, and it's like, oh, yeah, I gained a bit of experience. But I was like, you haven't been able to capitalize on it. Why?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing to all the young people that are trying to come up. Pick where the sources that you're going to for this knowledge, because half of the people out there, and Maki too posted something the other day where he said a lot of the artists you look at, they post lavish lives, but none of them are actually doing it. None of them actually have capital. You know, none of them actually are able to afford the cars they're driving. It's because so-and-so who is doing some mine work has gifted them the car to use for the day. Then they copy a few shots and then they put it on Instagram, and then you're like, oh, look, they're driving a Bugatti. No, they're not. They can't afford it. You know what I mean? It's like, so know your source. Know what you want to do with your life. Know what success means to you. You define your own success. Don't let somebody else tell you what success is to you, you know?
I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, like, we're going to have like mini clips. Here's a masterclass, Zambia music business, Africa music business. You know, I appreciate this time, your honesty, you know, the pointers that you give. That's why I'm doing these interviews, because I want people not to lie, to say, oh, I don't know what, or I'm curious about this. How do I know? Blah, blah, blah. They could just come to Celebrating Our Music on my channel and listen to these interviews. I don't even want to say anything more because I think it's more valuable if it comes from you. Okay, so final point. How can we, not necessarily move forward, but what do you think industry players or stakeholders in the music industry in Zambia, like if it's the rights body, the copyright body, the musicians body, how can we move Zambian music from where it is to like, okay, they've given us 6 Grammys, 10 Grammys, 15 Grammys this year. What 2 things do we need? What needs to be there on the ground to help this, to help us get there where we're claiming Grammys left, right, and center? I want that.
So first things first, I mean, the Grammys is one of the worst award shows in the world in terms of the way they work. I'm sorry to kill your dreams, but it's like they've marketed to us that they care about the world, but they don't really. The system, the way they nominate people is not according to what the people say. It's according to what 5 people in a room think. And you can actually find that online if you really wanted to look up how the Grammys work. That's a whole different conversation. But in terms of the Zambian music moving forward, or Zambian arts moving forward, is we're going to have to take pride in our culture to a large extent and stop buying into everyone else's culture. It's like, we're buying into the Nigerian sound, we're buying into the American sound, we're buying into we're doing it so like it's like becoming part of the culture, which is fine because we evolve. But it's like we actually are letting go of all of the things that Kalindula holds, you know, all the good things it holds. And when people hear me say Kalindula, they think maybe I mean a particular sound. I'm talking about Kalindula means Zambian music. People don't take away from that. There's Manchancha, Akalela, there's so many different vibes that make up this thing you guys are calling Kalindula. And that there's so much value in that. When we learn how to build the libraries around those sounds,
yes,
right, and use those sounds as well and sell them basically, is we as an arts council, not individuals. I'm talking about the body actually selling the sounds of like, okay, fine, there's this pack that you can buy online for you beat makers and you can use these Zambian sounds, you know, like that would generate revenue, which will go towards the arts council, which will help the musicians inside Zambia. Even making sure that on the royalties level that they're collecting from the radio stations and paying the artists well, you know. I find it very sad that these companies, I don't want to mention any names, but the ones that do all of these adverts, they'll pay a radio station a good $150,000 a year, right, to play these adverts, and the radio station keeps that money. They'll pay 500 kwacha a month for their license, or 1,000 kwacha at the end of the year for their license. But that big lump sum of money is not going towards the artists. Why do people listen to radio? They don't listen for the adverts. So, excuse me, that chunk of money that you're getting, a lot more needs to be actually given to artists, you know, especially if you're playing. We need to log what songs you're playing. DJs should be having a whole log to say, fine, these are the songs we're playing. This is how we're paying the artists. It's like, there needs to be a system in place. So in terms of when you look at us from Africa, we need to start to also raise our flag and stop going to these award ceremonies and being comfortable taking these small awards. You know, it's like, I hate it.
In the back.
It's sad.
Off camera.
The biggest Zambian acts go to award shows like the MTV African Music Awards, right? To go and watch South Africa and Nigeria basically share the awards, and then some of East Africa, and then they're hoping that maybe they'll win a Viewer's Choice Award. This is happening between Zimbabwe, Zambia, Malawi, you know, Botswana, Mozambique, Angola. We're all fighting for those awards. I love what Congo has done. Congo has completely forgotten about all of that awards rubbish and stuff, bigged up their artists, made their artists bigger, amplified them, and not cared about the rest of the continent. We need to focus on us. We need to start to value our own thing. And that is how we grow, is when we see the value in that, then we're not going to give it away for free. We're going to hold it, and we're going to look after it.
Yeah. I mean, I repent. I'm never going to say, how are we going to get Grammys? No, again. But I've been schooled. But yes, the truth is we should really aspire to, you know, we want a big artist. That big artist isn't going to happen out of the moon or, out of the blue. We need to be consumers of our own content, and everything you've said, you know, like, you know, take, I agree and I accept. I'm not going to ask you any more things. I'm just going to ask that everybody that came in, popped in, please go check out Jerome Arab. Go to his Instagram. Go to his links. Go to his YouTube now. You're going to find a lot of interesting and great work. I love everything that's on there. You know, like before I interview an artist, I always like to listen to their work, watch their stuff. So thank you for giving me something to enjoy. And then thank you for, no, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for the gems, for the tips, you know. I'm loving that you're doing something every week. So, I can already schedule, like in March when you do the release of the song that you talked about for Women's Day, maybe you should come back. I'm booking you already. If we all make it till then, I want to talk about that work and that collab and why it's important for you to do that release about that time. Okay.
Yeah.
But big thank you. Thank you so much for making the time. I appreciate it. Really, I do.
Thank you. Honestly, thank you for the platform. Thank you for sharing. And to everybody that's out there that loves Zambian music or African music, please, as I said, check out my stuff. Check out a bunch of other artists. There's people like Tilo that are coming up as well, that are making some really nice music as well. You've got, as I say, James Sakala, Killer if you're into rap. I'm a I'm a huge Chef 187 fan and a Maki 2 fan as well. So check out their stuff in terms of Zambia. In Zim content, I'm just going to drop a few names if you don't mind. There's Takura. Make sure you check out Takura. Check out Tammy Moyo, Amara Brown. In terms of, if you're looking at the bigger scope of the African continent, there's NOB music in Ghana. There's just so much happening on the content right now. Please make sure you check out all of our stuff. And as for me, I always say to people, when you're on my YouTube, drop a comment, share if you can, show a friend, and just stay engaged. Tell me what you like about the song. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to hear. And that is the beauty of these platforms, is the open communication.
Excellent. You heard. Go and watch, leave comments. We appreciate comments as creators, because then we know what you like, what you don't like. Engagement is king. So again, thanks everyone that stopped by. We really appreciate you. There would be no celebrating our music if you guys were not there. Until the next interview, bye. Take care, please.
Cheers, and be safe.
Please, yes, mask up. Bye, guys. Thanks a lot.